you have a friend or family member who is getting involved with Jehovah's Witnesses? Perhaps you are concerned, and rightfully so, with some of the teachings and practices of this religious group. Perhaps you sense this person is withdrawing from you, or is acting in a way that is radically different, and not necessarily in a positive way. The most important thing you can do is to keep calm and not overreact, as difficult as that may be. You do not want to be perceived in any way as being in the role of opposer. This point cannot be stressed enough. Why? Because early on in the Bible study, as the indoctrination process is called, the individual is many times warned that Satan doesn't want them to study, and that the devil will use family, friends, and acquaintances to stop them. They are prepped beforehand for any perceived opposition or persecution. And guess what generally happens? That person's friends, family, or acquaintances become alarmed when they hear that the person is studying, and attempt to outright dissuade them. This only reinforces in that person's mind that Satan the devil is trying to stop them from studying. They might well think the witnesses were right. There must be something to this. And it becomes almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even the slightest criticism of the organization can be viewed as opposition and feed into the persecution complex. Therefore, if your approach is heavy-handed, that might serve only to drive the person further in. Newcomers are often love-bombed. That is, the congregation is taught to mobilize at the sight of a newcomer, to welcome them warmly and give them lots of positive attention. In some cases, substantial amounts of time with the newcomer might be reported on a witness time slip, which can help that member standing with the organization. Problems in the congregation or the organization are screened out, as witnesses will try to put their best foot forward in order to be appealing to the newcomer. The person studying might quickly believe that these are the most loving people on earth. In contrast, if you come across in the least bit harsh, you could lose them as they flee into the group's comforting arms. Let me relate a story about a married couple, Frank and Margaret. Margaret began studying with my parents. Her husband Frank went ballistic. He would write long, rambling letters. He had fits of anger, yelling, and worse. For a time he forbid her to go to the meetings, and prevented her from using the car. My parents came to pick her up and took her to the meeting. When we returned, Frank had strewn all her witness literature across the driveway. He yelled at the top of his voice, raising his fist to the sky. What became of Margaret? Rather than dissuading her, this made her feel persecuted for righteousness' sake, and she quickly became a witness. And when I personally saw this man in the driveway, yelling and raising his fist to the sky, this only reinforced in my young, impressionable mind that I had the truth, and that Satan was using this man to persecute his wife. So what is there to be done? Doing nothing is not an answer. If the person is studying, you might only have a matter of weeks or months. And the further along they are, and the more history they've had with the organization, the more indoctrinated they will get. If you are dating this person, they will have to choose between you and the religion, as marriage to non-witnesses is a no-no. If you are a friend, most likely in time, you will be regarded as bad association, no matter if you believe in God or the Bible or not, no matter how moral you are or not. It is simply because you are not a witness. That friendship in the majority of cases will cool off and disappear. If you're a family, you might have some sense of withdrawal as well. For instance, holiday get-togethers especially would come to a stop. Therefore, time is limited. It's just as if you were defusing a ticking time bomb. Pull the wrong wire and it's over. The bomb can never unexplode. It is a delicate operation. In line with that thought, think of a skilled surgeon. They would not simply rush into surgery. The surgeon might take some time to study and diagnose and make a careful examination. They would prepare themselves and the patient for surgery. And they wouldn't perform the operation just anywhere, but only in a safe environment. As they operated, they would be patient and proceed delicately. Therefore, if possible, fight love bombing with love bombing. Do your best to be the safe haven. Create a positive, low-pressure environment. Encourage and compliment the person where you can. Do your homework on the beliefs and practices of Jehovah's Witnesses. The best resource for this is the website JW Facts. Above all, read the books by licensed mental counselor Stephen Hassan, like Combating Cult Mind Control and Freedom of Mind. In these books, he details the mindset of high control groups like Jehovah's Witnesses and the system of undue influence they are under, and he gives tips on how best to reach such ones. Your approach will be governed by how long they've been studying, how indoctrinated they are. But your approach should always be to enhance the person's free will, not to take it away. To enhance a person's thinking, not to do the thinking for them. Show interest in what they are learning. Ask questions. Questions are always the best way to provoke thought. Learn about other high control groups like Scientology, Moonies, Mormons, and others. As you find similarities in the mechanisms of undue influence between these groups, say with Scientology and their practice of disconnection, bring this up in conversation. Get their thoughts on that. But try not at first to directly connect the practice with Jehovah's Witnesses. If possible, let them come to the conclusion on their own. Obviously, if a person has just started studying and they've had no prior connections to the religion, say through family, you might be able to be more forthcoming. But if they've been studying for a while, or they've associated with witnesses in the past, you might have to exercise more patience than usual. Unfortunately, there is no one-size-fits-all silver bullet solution, but with careful, delicate effort, you just might be able to reach them.